Why exactly did Juggler turn evil? There are a couple of events which contributed to his downfall, starting with being rejected by the Voice of Light. Before the events of Orb Origin Saga, Juggler and Guy were rivals competing for the power of the Crusader of Light, with Juggler being presumed by both men to be the obvious candidate. When it chose Guy instead, it led to a resentment and jealousy which fueled their rivalry in the series. However, being rejected by the Light did not immediately make Juggler turn against Guy. In fact, he continued to mentor the newly anointed Ultraman for some time before their friendship reached a breaking point. The second point is one that I feel gets overlooked often: Juggler's experience with the Kugutsu. The Kugutsu was a mind-controlled poison used by bug monsters called the Bezelve. Juggler was injected with this Kugutsu during a mission to infiltrate the evil Dr. Psyche's base, and even though he was cured, it clearly still messed with him. Before this point, Juggler seemed to be a more rules-oriented person who did things by the book, but according to him, getting injected by the mind control juice made him realize that belief in following the rules takes away free will, just like Kugutsu, quote unquote. This shift in mentality would be what ultimately lead to him cutting down the Tree of Life in order to end the war, and would define his path moving forward, going from honorable warrior to master manipulator and impish trickster. Another small instance that I think would make Juggler come to resent Guy in particular is Guy letting him win during their sparring session. It denotes, at least in Juggler's mind, that Guy doesn't really respect Juggler as a warrior enough to fight all out. And while this isn't a big deal in my opinion, I think that it's a microcosm of the divide beginning to form in their relationship. The third instance is Mikot's death. Even though Juggler and Mikot had only known each other for like a day, and their relationship wasn't exactly personal, Mikot had trusted Juggler with her life, and in his mind he let her down. He refused to teach her his Jashin style of swordsmanship, and she died trying to emulate him. Because of both these factors, I think that Juggler felt an immense guilt he wouldn't have otherwise felt watching someone he barely knew die. This guilt made him resent the Light which rejected him, because if he had that power, he could have saved her, or so he thinks. The next thing he does is cut down the Tree of Life to end the war, as per his new mentality of no longer playing by the rules. Instead of being praised for it, he is condemned for it and ostracized by the very people he was trying to save. Even the Ultraman chewed him out. This made Juggler disillusioned with the light side's sense of justice, and even after his redemption, he still harbors resentment for how they turned on him even though he ended the war. From his point of view, he's the enemy because they made him the enemy. Anyway, these are just my thoughts on why Juggler turned evil. Which do you think was the most important contributing factor? Personally, I'm starting to think that the Kugutsu played the biggest role because of how it changed his mentality from noble warrior to cunning trickster. But I'm eager to hear your thoughts in the comments down below.